back, folks. Acidic Roots here. So we've got part 4 of Mystic Quest, but there is a little good news, bad news time. The bad news is that that little segment with the old man, which he just basically tells you you need to go to Fireburg and meet Ruben. It's only about 2 sentences of dialogue, but you know, this a small whatever you call those, minor setback. But regardless of that, I lost the footage because I thought I only had to keep 2 of the recording sessions, but the third one I needed 2, or actually the first one. But you know, the rest of me was just messing around trying to figure out what I needed to do, so I deleted it. But so anyways, we're going to Fireburg. He also tells you to push a statue, which I did, and then you have to figure out how to get to the next area. And since we beat the ice pyramid and got the key, we can go through the blue door. That's what we're gonna do. And obviously the next set of stages implies the fire crystals, so there's gonna be a lot of lava themed areas. So I haven't completed this as of the time I'm recording the vocals, so I know the volcano is probably where the fire crystal is, but I don't know how many other areas there's going to be. I assume at least one more. But another thing is whether or not Ruben is going to stay within the area or not, or stay within the party. So we'll find out soon enough. But most of part 4 is just going to consist of trying to defeat this one boss. So obviously something stumped me, and then I had to make the 3rd recording session. So what that was just not knowing. Well, we'll talk about it more when we get there. We still have another 6, 7, 8 minutes before that happens. But for now, we're going to go to Fireburg and see what the townspeople think. While that's happening, I'm going to take a sip of Coke. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to really do the battlefields too much just because the dungeons allow you to level up enough. I think it's just for the implication of whether or not you actually want to get to level 99. I'm almost certain that there's no need to get to the maximum level unless you just want to be a completionist. But here we are at Fireburg. So first thing I'm going to do is save, and you know, the main thing here is to find Ruben, but I'm also going to talk to the townspeople. This town is larger than the town Phoebe is from. There's actually more folks to talk to, so I am liking that. This was an interesting little town, and it's starting to feel a lot more like a regular Final Fantasy, at least a 2-dimensional Final Fantasy. The 3D ones, anything from the PlayStation forward, oh yeah, it was just basically, you know, there'd be at least 20, 30 people to talk to in these towns. Well, maybe not in Final Fantasy 7, but later on, definitely. So, but, you know, truth be told, I have a secret to share with you folks. This will probably be the first Final Fantasy game I've actually ever beaten entirely by the time I wind up completing this game. So I got pretty far in Final Fantasy VI, but I think I lost my information. Played it a couple times across the past 15 years, but I haven't gone back to it since 2010 or so. And, you know, really, it's a pretty long game. I mean, that's the thing. I definitely feel like if it had just been a little bit longer, it probably wouldn't have been able to be on a cartridge. So there's definitely that. But, that was the second closest Final Fantasy game I came close. The second closest Final Fantasy game I was to beat. And yeah, then after that it'd probably be Final Fantasy 1. So that was the thing. this game, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy 1, but I pretty much can play almost any two-dimensional one, which I think there's about 7 of them actually. But yeah, this was just, they needed more games like this. There's just no way that they shouldn't have done this again. So with the PlayStation probably had, you know, obviously if you were to talk to me and say, you know, I want to get either a Super Nintendo or a PlayStation, I'd probably tell you just to get the PlayStation, just because Square basically brought every single RPG they did to the PlayStation, with the exception of this game, maybe Secret of Mana. But I mean, you do get a lot of other ones. Those are okay times, but you know, just obviously, you know, the thing with me is I can only take a role-playing game for so long, though. But yeah, okay, so we're gonna listen to the band. This is something that happens on the occasion in Final Fantasies. And I might just be thinking of Earthbound too. You can kind of mess around with the band in that. I think it's like the Runaway 5 that you somehow are trying to figure out. It's pretty awesome that they do have a band, because, you know, this is set in like the Middle Ages, so you didn't think they would have guitars back then. I guess they kind of did. Oh, that's a little treat for my Burt fans, but yeah. I mean, they had to have had guitars back then, because I know certain songs they did, but it just seems strange, like how they got the strings. I don't know where that came from. They say it comes from like an ox or something. I mean, Frenchie would know. He's done with guitars and that sort of. He's worked with strung guitars, so. But yeah, this is the part that stumps me, just because the first playthrough I thought, you know, you just had to go and figure it out, but the guy that locked himself in his room, you need a mega grenade to break open the door. So obviously we can't get it, but you know, if you paid attention in the lounge or the bar or whatever, and I think it was a bar because Tristram, it didn't show him with a drink, but you know, since this is kind of a more kid-friendly game, I think that's the only reason. But you know, Shadow from Final Fantasy VI was in a bar, and it basically implied that, you know, he was getting, you know, adult alcoholic drinks. So I don't know what they called it, maybe an ale or something, but they didn't really do that in this game. But yeah, we do need to talk to Tristram, and so that was what stumped me. And we're not quite at the point yet. I'm just trying to figure out as far as what the hell to do. But yeah, talk to Tristram, he will help you out, and then we can get on our way, and then that begins the mine phase, which that's actually what it's called, the mine. I know that sounded weird for me to say that, but kind of almost talking on automatic. But yeah, so let's talk to Tristram, see what he has to say. What's up? Guy wouldn't let us in. Take this. Tristram knows. Oh, I guess we get the key. But yeah, that's the thing. The guy that won't let us in, he gives us the Mega Grenade, which is a powerful item. It's probably the strongest item we should have at this point. It attacks multiple enemies just like the regular bomb, but it whoops some of these characters' ass a little bit, especially when you just attack one. I like to save the bombs sometimes when, you know, your party member takes out the other 2 enemies, and then you just use the bomb and it takes care of them. But obviously if it's on automatic, you know, they may not know to do that, so. But So for anyone who's kind of sick of me doing automatic, I actually am going to manually control the other party member. So I start to realize you fight this boss and he's actually pretty tough. It's the thing, the Ice Pyramid boss and the bosses from before that were just not like extremely, you know, tough to get past. This one actually wipes out Zone a good handful of times, and I start to realize that, you know, Ruben only has like maybe 10, 9, 8 more life spells, so yeah, I just said screw it, we're gonna have to do it this way. So we will be on our way. Though Ruben is at level 23, it's not essential that you be that high. This would mean if you were, you'd probably wipe the floor with these enemies a lot of the time. Because right now, Zone or your party, your hero character, can't really one-shot these guys. So the bomb can do it, but it has to be at least 2 enemies to really make the bomb damage go up. So Ruben can one-shot these guys. That's the thing. Unless he's confused, which, you know, I think he can pretty much one-shot you if you're not too careful. So, so heads up, I don't know what I'm doing in this dungeon. I went into it blind. I just figured it wouldn't be that tough. I could beat these enemies, but I didn't really know as far as like, you know, what direction to go in, so just trying to kind of think of, you know, the particular stuff to do. But yeah, this is going to be a blind run, and I do actually wind up chopping out some of the fights so you don't have to see every single one, because I do fall for some of these traps, and I do wind up what am I trying to say here? I do wind up fighting more enemies than I wanted to. It would have been a nightmare if I couldn't have seen these enemies. That's definitely the thing. So I think, you know, if you talk to a few of the party members, or a few of the NPCs in Fireburg, they'll tell you that you need a mask to see the enemies in the volcano. So we are going to get that one way or the other. I mean, I'll deal with it as I get there, but I'm not going to fight every single enemy in that volcano, because I know it's a volcano for one thing, which is a lava mountain, so that means it's going to be large, and it probably means there's going to be a lot of enemies and maybe multiple floors. So that's the whole damn thing, is it's more fighting than I'm itching to do right now. But, you know, it could basically wind up being like a 2-hour dungeon. My computer can't handle that right now. I mean, it could handle it, but it just doesn't have the space. I've been trying to figure out what's eating my 100 gigabytes worth of space, but I don't know where the fuck it's going to. That's pissing me off. So, you know, most of the time I have like 4 or 5 gigabytes left, or 2 in worst cases. So, you know, with the vocals being laid down and all that different stuff, it just really has to, you know, I have to make sure I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I've got nothing at my side besides a Coke. Took a couple pictures, put them up on Instagram. You know, I've been messing with the strobe light again. I just figured, like, you know, I don't really talk too much about Saturday nights as much as I do a Friday night, but I definitely wanted to encourage that, just because the strobe light is so pretty when it's nighttime. It really looks like, maybe not like the most illicit nightclub, but it looks like it could pass for like a B grade, you know, B minus, C plus grade nightclub or something. All you really need is music, and just, you put the strobe light on flash mode and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You just need some techno music or something. You know, the song I picked for those deep videos, I probably just need some techno. I'm just gonna have to find the appropriate song though. So some of those pictures went up on my Instagram, just kind of off and on. I mean, really, I have those pictures, but it's not every day. I mean, most of these people are just assuming that you just have something to do every single day. I mean, you know, the thing about Instagram is more about your creativity more so than your daily plans. You know, not too many people are going to say, oh yeah, he went to a gas station and got, you know, a coffee. It's like, oh, you know, how many people have, you know, I just kind of go for the creative side of it, but it's kind of off and on. So these guys will confuse you, and Ruben, I would prefer Ruben to not be confused than Zone, just because Ruben will heal you, but it's just better just to take him out. I mean, it just depends upon if you're willing to have the turn to heal him. So, but, you know, one of these battles, I don't know if I sniffed it, but Zone winds up getting his ass kicked, and I think it had something to do with just me using a jumbo bomb on myself, which basically, you know, like they said, or it's a mega grenade now, but they say basically use the mega grenades with caution. But yeah, it basically whooped the shit out of them, and you know, Ruben had to use a life spell on me, and it was kind of a disaster. I remember it happening, I just don't remember if I snipped that battle. If I did, just take it from that. Just know that a mega grenade, if you're confused and you use it on yourself, will probably one-shot you. So, I'm just trying to try some new weapons just to figure out what would be useful on these guys. Like the tree enemies, it's good to use the axe or some fire attack, and the crabs, it's good to use the axe. And I mean, I don't know if every single enemy has a weakness, but I just try to figure it out. I thought the cat claw would probably fuck up the zombies, but it doesn't. They usually counter, so. Yeah, this is quite the developed dungeon. I mean, they know, they're pretty smart about figuring out which direction newcomers are probably going to take. So that's the thing, is you're going to wind up getting in a lot of fights. But here pretty soon we're going to be at the boss. And that was a stupid move. That was probably the most stupid move, because now I have to fight all these enemies again. I do think I clipped a few of them, so you don't have to see it every time. Yep, it's good for that. I'm just trying to figure out what else has been going on. I mean, September 1st was just kind of a spare day. I wasn't really doing too much that day. Trying to think of what I did. I recycled some stuff, because I do recycle at my household. I got a Coke at McDonald's. I mean, not too much eventful stuff, but I just kind of helped out around the house. And yeah, there was something I did. I just don't remember what. Oh yeah, I got. What did I? Well, I got Jones soda the other day. I mean, it's the past several days, August 31st, August 30th, September 1st, have just been kind of spare. I mean, you know, it's kind of just a mellow day when a soda run is, of course, like the highlight of what you're doing. This is kind of the thing. I mean, I try to update frequently, but I don't like having to be there every single day. And, you know, with Boogie2988 doing Francis videos only on Fridays now, I mean, that's better than, you know, his one time a month that he used to do during this year. But I mean, that basically means I'm looking forward to Friday, but also, yeah, it was just like I was saying, I mean, these soda runs are just becoming the highlight. And on the occasion we do get pizza. You know, we got Domino's the other day. Frenchie enjoyed that. We all enjoyed that. Cobalt enjoyed that. But I mean, you know, the whole thing is it's just about time. I mean, when you realize that there's limited things to do, that kind of grows tiresome. Is the main thing. I mean, it becomes an activity just to eat Slim Jims. That's basically the thing. You know, it's just like, hell, I'm vlogging, I have to mention Slim Jims. It's like, hell, all I'm doing is eating. I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to weigh 250 pounds. The fucking thing. I mean, most people say you need to cut out soda, but I just don't like the idea of having to give up something of good taste. But so when I'm not playing this game, I have to find like some sort of special video game, and then you have to make it applicable to 2 people. Because, you know, if I like Smash Brothers, I have to make sure that Frenchie likes it, or it's at least interesting. So it has to be interesting to 2 people. And then when he's not there, you know, there's just different varieties of stuff. I mean, I'm sure any person who's had a roommate knows what they have to deal with when they want to do things that they want to do, so. But. So. Yeah, just peering into the world. I still have a good 12-pack of Baja Blast over here. And I'm thinking about playing through the game Super Return of the Jedi. It's the only one of the Super Star Wars games that I can beat. I've tried Super Star Wars, you know, just Super Star Wars, and that one is not that simple. Super Empire Strikes Back is worse. I mean, I don't even bother with that game due to how hard it is. And Super Return of the Jedi, I've actually beaten. I beat that like in early 2016 or early 2015. I don't remember. It was either 2014, 2015, 2016, one of those years. Forgot about it, said screw it, and, you know, just didn't come back to it. But the main reason why I hate playing through that game is just because of the very last stage, the escape from the Death Star stage. So that one is just atrocious just because there's no map, and you basically have to start remembering the whole layout. I mean, obviously they do give you a password to get there, but I mean, it is entirely possible getting game overs. It's even worse on the Jedi difficulty. So, I'll probably wind up doing it. I mean, I need more games that I can actually beat, so this is the main thing there. It's not too many. You know, I can't get past, what am I trying to say here? Couldn't get past Beavis and Butthead without cheats. Can't beat Super Punch-Out. So, just a variety of those shits. Just the whole damn thing. Can't beat Zombies Ate My Neighbors, speaking of zombies. So, Super Star Wars, like I mentioned, so. Take another sip of Coke. I'm damn near at the point of just doing all this in one shot. I mean, that really just allows me to have to just put up the final bit of vocals and just kind of conclude it from there. But it's kind of awkward me deciding like I actually have 40 minutes of commentary, so maybe I will just pause this and then come back to it, you know, finish up the rest in a couple hours. Okay, folks, we're back, so that should conclude at least this segment that I've recorded thus far. So I do have plans to stuff this video a little bit more. I mean, it's only at 40 minutes right now, so I'm going to add like another 8, 9, 10 minutes just to see how far I could get. I think there's like another area in the fire area that you have to do, and I would assume there's some sort of mini-boss, which I probably won't get to, but I'll at least start the dungeon. So obviously, I would assume that I would probably be past the volcano by part 6. You know, I'm not going to just get to the volcano in part 5 and then have part 6 be the whole thing. It's gonna be half of part 5 and half of part 6. And then we'll see where I wind up after the volcano. Because I remember I actually watched through this several years ago, but there's like some bridge area, and I know Captain Mac still has not shown up. I don't know if he joins the party or not, but we still have to run into him. And since he's a captain, that implies that he has a ship of some sort. So there's at least one other character that you use. Tristan's going to come back. Haley is going to come back. So there's a couple varieties of folks that you're going to see, and I think beyond Captain Mac, Tristan, Haley, I think there's like one other character who you might use. Seems kind of strange that there would be 4 when we're, you know, almost at the 3rd out of 4th crystal that we need, but I do think there's going to be some tricks that this game still has to show. So, we're probably about 40% done with the game, maybe 55%, somewhere around there. But that's the thing, some people think they're 55% done with something that they're over the hill, but it's like, nope, the hill comes at 70%. Some people have no problem with doing that. It's kind of the thing there. The toughest point in the game, the toughest point in which you have to apply yourself, comes 3/4 or 80%. Kind of annoying when that happens. I hate when the hill, when I forget what it's called, but yeah, there's like literature teaches you this, but like the hump, you know, the hump comes 90% of the way done with something, and that just throws everyone off. But there you have it. I don't think this game's gonna pull that. Should be simple enough to defeat. So this is the boss here. This is Jin. So I also thought about going down, but don't, because it'll just make you have to go through the dungeon again. The only thing left is to go in this cave, but I think I actually do try this out. I don't know, maybe I do, maybe I don't. So I guess I still had more exploring to do. I was thinking, oh, there's more, but I didn't know which way to turn, you know. Yeah, this boss character can actually wipe out Ruben. I mean, most of the time, what am I trying to say here? Most of the time, I mean, up to this point, the boss characters really did not take out your other party member that easily. It would usually be the hero character that would fall, and the computer controller, the second party member, would be the one that would bring you back. But the whole damn thing is you are going to have to heal Ruben in this, just to make sure, because I don't think Zone, or your hero character, has, I don't think Zone has the life spell, so it's kind of like, well, like the main thing. So, you do get it at some point, but it might be later on. Of course, I may have it, I don't know. It's up in the air. Take another sip of Coke. You like how it's the last thing that I do is to figure out that I need to go fuck with the boss. I just should have paid attention to the fact that it's kind of a different character image. And so anytime they're different, I mean, the boss characters are visible too, so that's one thing to remember. But yeah. So if you can beat this boss with automatic, that pretty much means that you're sharp at RPGs, or you're decent, you know, above average at RPGs, just because Jin starts using attacks like Flame Pillar and Bolt and some of that stuff, a lightning attack that can wipe out your health in 1 or 2 attacks. So that's the thing, you do have to start getting serious with it, knowing how to navigate the game now. And obviously the computer, anytime it gets 2 damage, is going to heal, so I just don't do that, but then you don't want to underestimate their attacks, so holding thing. Zone just got wiped out, but you'll see what happens here. We do need to get rid of that other skeleton enemy, so they're just the 2 of them. It's not good to have those sorts of ganging up on you and stuff. Trying to use, Mega Grenade really doesn't do that much damage, but to Jin at least. So, and here's another thing. This is another thing you have to pay attention to. Jin is faster than Zone, or the hero characters. I'm just gonna refer to him as Zone. You know, me saying the hero character. Jin is faster than Zone, and the whole damn thing is Ruben may be faster than Jin, but the thing is Zone is going to be the last one to attack most of the time, so unless it's, you know, ahead of the 2 skeleton enemies that you saw, so that's something to pay attention to. Speed is definitely something you want to know about in RPGs, just because the character that attacks first is usually the one that's probably not going to die, so you want to keep that character. And, you know, in other Final Fantasy games where they have 3 or 4 of them, that's the one you either want to heal or you want to just be the attacker. So, you know, just stratagems, you know. I keep trying to get Zone to attack and it just doesn't seem to be working that well, so Jin can really whoop the shit out of him, unfortunately. He's gonna start using Flame Pillar soon. See, this is what I'm talking about. Ruben doesn't have any magic, so he can't really heal me. That's the big problem. If Phoebe was here, I'd probably whoop the shit out of Jin pretty quickly. Beat the shit out of Jin, you know. He's kind of a pansy, though. That's the thing. I'm not too fazed by this boss. It's just the fact that the computer, kind of its strategies just are not offensive enough. It's kind of off and on, so I just like it normally on automatic, but you do just have to take the helm. That's just the main thing about it, so I figured that out in a little bit. It's only going to be a little bit longer, and then Jin's taken care of. I probably could have fought 2 of these guys. I think if there would have been 2 Jins, it might have been tough dealing with 2 Flame Pillars at once, but I don't know if I could have taken 2 at once, but I could have taken, you know, fought 1, beat 1, and then fought the second one after that. Probably would have been able to. I mean, some RPGs do that later on. They may not have done that in 1990, but 97 forward, I bet they did. Just depending. Oh, hey, you can fight one boss, fight the next one, see what else you can do. I don't even know about 97 forward. I think Final Fantasy VI even did that. There were some nasty bosses in that game. They were pretty dope. I mean, that's the thing. The 8 dragons of the earth, and the Doom Gaze, and Boom Baba, and all those were Those are hellish enemies. I don't know how they came up with the designs of those. Dang. That's the kind of shit that we need to see in video games more often, you know. I don't know what happened to whoever created those from 1994. You gotta realize once it's been 25 years, it's kind of like you can't expect the same team to go in and work on something like that. But yeah, it's pretty badass. That's definitely the thing about Final Fantasy VI. But the folks who did this game, it's not too terrible either. I mean, Jin actually has a good design. So, he appears to be some sort of genie. So the name that's used in Japan, I mean, I think Yu Yu Hakusho, the manga, used the name Jin. But alright, so, you know, manual did it. I don't know where I switched, but this is the main thing. Those burps must sound weird coming through the microphone. I should have just chugged this shit and I could have totally gotten like a gonzo burp or a jumbo burp or something, but okay, so we're gonna free Ruben's father and then we'll find out in a little bit what we do after that. There's only like 4 minutes left of the recording thus far. You do have to exit the mine, it's like normal. You are going to have to do that. I was trying to look for some sort of exit just to get out of there, but nope. So yeah, I do a lot of Super Nintendo games, but it's just simpler to do it that way. I mean, I've tried to beat Contra, I'm just unable to. I have beaten Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong, but there's just not a ton of games that I can do. But the Super Nintendo is just easier. There's just something about it. They kind of realized how tough the NES games were. That kind of made them think, okay, well maybe we should lighten up a bit. But I'll tell you, like Contra 3, that's a hard as fuck game. Some of those games are just, you know, ridiculous. They didn't lessen the difficulty of those. It's like, what the shit. Yeah, that's the next area where that boulder just showed, so we're gonna take care of that soon. But first, we're gonna go back to Firebird. So. We'll see if we have to talk to Tristram again. So nonchalant about it. Like, oh, you know, this guy's been missing for however long, and oh, thank you so much. Crystal Fire's in the lava dome, so we're heading there. So just pay attention to that. My computer just gave me a warning that I'm running out of space, so that's gonna piss me off here pretty soon. So obviously, I don't know what the dealio is. Buy some more explosives, because I will need those. We only have a couple more minutes, and then of course I have to figure out what I'm going to do. So I had like 3 gigabytes worth of space. I don't know how I dropped that quickly. There's been no way that should have happened. It's going to be a bitch. I know this is going to take a couple gigabytes to save this, though. It's going to try me. So, we're almost done. We've got like 40 seconds left. I'm just trying to figure out whatever else there is to do, but I know what we have to do. So, Yeah, this is not the end of the video. There is more, and I'm gonna record more in a few days, or tonight or something. We'll just figure it out. So, Final Fantasy is bombastic. It definitely is. The whole other thing about it, you just have to pick the right one. Some people Final Fantasy 4 suits, some people Final Fantasy 6 suits. I'm not gonna dive into a 50-hour game, but you get the idea. Okay, guys, so this is a little bit of the game that you're going to see in the future. The demo has gotten quite far, so maybe it's not too far off, seeing as he's at level 25. But, okay, so we're going to go to the Sealed Temple, because that's an area that was unlocked. We talked to the old man, and you have 10 GP for a cup of coffee. Oh. But this is actually not the place we're supposed to go, so... we will get a couple potions and that sort of thing, so... Yeah, the volcano. So it seems, I thought that this was going to be like another area of the Sealed Temple as far as what that went. I mean, the boulder fell, allowing you to kind of access this area, but I wasn't quite as sure as far as like what to expect from that. So we're just going to go to the volcano, which is where the third crystal is, probably. And, can't see the enemy, so we're gonna see some sneaks that we're gonna get a glimpse of here, but I'm gonna try to show off at least a handful of these new enemies, like these ghost-like enemies. So the first thing I'm trying to do is just make it back to manual or automatic for Ruben. So, but yeah, you don't want to attack these ghost guys with any sort of physical attack just because they can confuse you with a counter. So, yeah. And they might be able to weaken your attack. I don't know if it stays that way. That'd be kind of a pain in the ass for that to happen. But, yeah, so it's going to be a while before I level up. I mean, obviously, once again, I think the game is implying for you to go to a few of the battlefields, but, I'm basically able to take care of most of these areas, and I haven't really had too much of a problem unless that starts to happen with, the boss of the volcano. This kind of makes me curious about. There are hella enemies, and I don't know what sort of stuff you unlock by choosing to fight them and get these chests, but I do actually get like a small handful. For the second bit, I don't have any cokes with me, so it is what it is. I'm going to Walmart this morning, and I have to get like cat litter and that sort of stuff, so I want to get this out of the way before I don't have time. But, so, yeah, I mean, I'm liking the way things are going. This is actually pretty scenery. I mean, if you go off this side, you can see a lot of mountains, kind of like what happens with A Link to the Past, how you can kind of see mountains in the Death Mountain area. It's kind of a trick of the Super Nintendo, but it's a pretty slick one. Obviously, it allows you to see over the horizons, implying that it's pretty high up, but then again, I mean, you forget the idea that a volcano is probably more than like 100 feet tall or something. I would assume it would be. I don't know if it would be like 300, 500, 1,000 feet high. I mean, that's just the whole damn thing, but... So it's interesting enough, but... Yeah, these enemies here, werewolves, I think that's... Yeah, werewolves. They kind of look more like a Cerberus, but it's not too terrible. They do quake a lot, and they can do a couple status attacks too to watch out for. So it's always good to have heals. I mean, Ruben tends to use them more than I do. I just kind of let the effect wear off, but sometimes it can cost you the battle, depending on what happens. So, I do have the heal spell, so that's another thing I can start doing. But, yeah. So this is just a glimpse of the volcano. I'm not actually going to beat the volcano in this episode. We're going to tackle that in part 5 and see if we can get to a little bit of a ways after that. I think that little area that you saw in the demo might imply that, you know, Kaylee's going to join us, and there might be some sort of forest area, which I wouldn't really mind too much. I mean, we went from a bone dungeon to an ice pyramid to a mine to now a volcano. So it's been some interesting areas, but I'm kind of curious about what other tricks they have up the sleeve. And at the beginning of the place it was a forest, so just off and on. But we haven't really encountered, I guess we have encountered a desert area. Yeah, I mean, obviously once you go through those doors, you do have to navigate more with the D-pad. You can't really see the visible path, so just a little workmanship and you'll figure it out. I think Final Fantasy VI kind of does that too. It's either that or Chrono Trigger, one of those games. I don't remember. So this is definitely in the top 5 of best RPGs for the Super Nintendo. I mean, whether or not you want to include Secret of Mana and Secret of Evermore, I definitely feel like this one's in there. Final Fantasy 2, 6, or 4, 6, and maybe Mario RPG. But I just feel like this one's probably the better choice between this and Mario RPG. I mean, it just has more realism to it. And that game is just kind of, I just would assume that for someone who wants to mess with RPGs, but is not for all like the cutesy scenery and stuff. So, I mean, this game is kind of off and on, but it's a long game. It has just enough to, you know, be worth the endeavor. So, but yeah, I like this. You know, it's interesting enough. It's got good music just to keep you at bay, so kind of reminds me of just like some other Final Fantasy game that sounded similar to this. Don't really remember, but something like that. Yeah, the Mega Grenades still kick ass, so don't forget about those. Those are actually pretty good to have. I just use those a lot just because it attacks multiple enemies, and when you only have to fight one, it usually one-shots them. The treasure chest will give you like loads of those, so you might as well just keep them. And as long as you have more than 40, you should be able to get through most dungeons and not have to buy more. But I'm basically going to have to do this part again because I did exit the dungeon to save and stuff, but I'm just going to, when I go through this place the second time, I'm just going to off-screen it until I actually get to the part where I left off. So that shouldn't be too terrible. Basically tackle maybe, you know, 1.5 bit of the dungeon. I don't know how much I shaved off in this episode, but I don't think it'll be too much. It'll be done in part 5. So, not really like it's a rush, but, you know, I like the idea of, you know, just having these megaton episodes of, you know, the LP just to really kind of zone out to. I mean, it's the kind of stuff, you know, you just, maybe you're on the phone texting, maybe you're just eating pizza, maybe you're on Twitter while doing this. This ability to multitask and this kind of unwind, set up shop, that sort of thing. That's what this is intended for. I do think the idea behind that, just pay attention to it better, because, you know, there's only so many games for retro gamers that have the ability to do this. Final Fantasy VI being one of those, maybe Chrono Trigger if you haven't watched it 20 times by now, and 50 times by now, whatever, but So many different ones. It's a concept I like to talk about a lot more than I have, setting up shop. It's pretty awesome. I'm starting to learn how to do that more. You know, I might have to start giving like shout outs or something just to kind of get you focused on the YouTube community and shit, you know. And these are not just intended for rainy days. Like I said, if you go to the playlist of this, if you're not already in the playlist, the description that I've given for this game as a whole is just to say, yeah, this is nighttime intended, so don't be ashamed to call up Domino's or something and just, you know, go crazy with about 5 or 6 of these. I don't give a shit, trust me. But we got the mask, so that's going to be the event of the events that's going to cap off this dungeon for now, but I don't think this is going to be too much of a pain in the rear. So, this allows you to see enemies in the mistier areas. So, we'll get to that. Like, there's a couple there I know I'm going to be having to fight a handful of these. I don't know what the boss is, so it's a complete mystery to me, so... I don't have any burps this time. Kind of... Thing. Like I said, I don't have any drinks by me. Had a couple Lunchables and a Coke earlier, but that was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Now it's like 4:30, so but doing what's necessary. Yeah, don't forget about the jump ability in case you get stuck there or something like that. You can't actually jump. So I'm just gonna leave the dungeon, like I said, and heal up, item up, and that sort of thing. It's always a good thing to do. I mean, don't be afraid to leave a dungeon if you absolutely need to. I mean, you can always go to the battlefields and grind, get some money, and then come back stronger and wipe the floor with it easier. But I was looking for Tristram, but he's actually not there now, so he must have gone on his way. I think we'll run into him again pretty soon. I shouldn't say we'll. So, well, Ruben will not be there, of course, but I don't think actually any of the other party members meet, like the party member that's going to join you. I don't think there's ever 3 of them at once, but this is something to know. You may talk to them with another party member, but I don't think they acknowledge the other one. So, alright, we've got like 15 seconds left, so stay tuned for part 5, and subscribe for more fun. Check out Frenchie's channel. You know, have a wonderful night, and stay tuned.